Hey folks, it's Mark Maron. There are a lot of independent podcasters out there. People that podcast independently and are doing this from the heart instead of from the soul patch, which I have, and it looks really hot. And now, an independent podcast.
This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 833. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on Earth located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today, the finale of my into an interview with the Berkeley band MULLERETTE. Plus, we finally reveal the name of the actual place where we do this show. Yes, it's from the last place on Earth, but where is that exactly? And we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, and science news.
Mike's Daily Podcast
About Dawn, the spacecraft that's reached the asteroid Ceres. My name is Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I'm surprised that no Oscar went to Reese Witherspoon. She went into the wilderness, the wild, with her Zune, a defunct Windows music player that no one wanted to use. Do you feel bad when you see traffic backed up, but it's not you because you're on the other side and you're going really fast in the opposite direction?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Especially when you're burning money using winter blend gas imperfection.
Mike's
so expensive here
Daily
in California.
Podcast.
Yes, I mentioned this last show.
Yeah!
It's not, Reese Witherspoon's movie is called Wild. It's not Into the Wild. Into the Wild was that sad Sean Penn movie with that guy. He's got the funky name. Emil Hirsch. That's right. And he dies at the end because he eats like the wrong berries. And you see him just die, and then there's music playing by Pearl Jam. Eddie Vedder softly croons away as the camera pulls away from our dead friend and into the wild. No, Reese Witherspoon's movie is called Wild, which is odd because, all right, she was up for an Oscar in it. Laura Dern was up for an Oscar playing her mom. I heard she did a great job. I have not seen the movie yet. But Laura Dern was in a movie called Something Wild. The Wild Things. Look who just walked in. Oh my God, Mike Matthews, you're like so wrong. I am? Really? I mean, yeah, I am. And how am I wrong, Chely? Something Wild was with Melanie Griffith. Oh, right. Wild at Heart was the one. Okay, yeah. David Lynch did Wild at Heart. Okay, so Something Wild's in 1986. Wild at Heart was in 1990 with Laura Dern and Nicolas Cage. And years later, Laura Dern would do a movie called Wild. Bizarre. And now Melanie Griffith's daughter is being all wild in 50 Shades of Grey. And now I feel 50 Shades of Grey knowing that Melanie Griffith has a daughter that's old enough to be in a movie called 50 Shades of Grey. Weird. With Don Johnson, no less. Look who else just walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I think you've come upon a wild movie theory. Wild stuff. Thank you. That sounded a little Johnny Carson-y. Really? Wild stuff, Ed. Wow, kind of, not really. But yeah, it's a word that fits. You realize that when you're walking in, okay, there are elements of this movie that are untamed, of this story. And it fit the Reese Witherspoon movie because she actually goes into the wild. But that's different from Into the Wild with Emil Hirsch with Sean Penn. Yet Sean Penn was pertinent in the Oscars this year because he had something interesting to say, and then Melanie Griffith. It's a big weird circle. You're right. It is some sort of theory, John Deere. Mike, I think if you thought about it too long, you'd explode. You know, actually, that happened on the last show. Valentino spontaneously combusted, and I think that happened because of winter blend gas. I blame winter blend gas on all of this, and on the fact that my wallet is so empty. Damn you, California winter blend gas that's so expensive. Mike, this theory is fascinating. I want to put all my brain power into it. Oh no, John Deere, the engineer, spontaneously combusted. That means now I'm short 2 characters. Oh no, Mike, what are you going to do? I don't know. We need to try and get them back. Madame Rutabaga needs to be here. Oh, here she is. Hello, Mike Matthews, Madame Rutabaga. I will bring them back. Whoa, where am I?
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. Yes, I'm back today.
Madam Rutabaga, how'd you do that?
They were simply in a different dimension.
Yes, Mike, we didn't really spontaneously combust.
Yeah, that would be a little bit too grotesque for this podcast day.
Interesting, Valentino. Well, let's hear it for you guys being back. And let's hear it for Serial, the most popular podcast in the world, which involved death. Not to be confused with Ceres, which is an asteroid that the NASA spaceship Dawn has just gotten into its orbit, becoming the first NASA mission to visit a dwarf planet and the first to go to 2 distinct bodies in the solar system. This according to LATimes.com. Ceres is the largest object in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter and the final stop on Dawn's journey in the solar system. The 4.5 foot long spacecraft blasted off from Earth in 2007. It spent 14 months exploring the mega asteroid Vesta between the years 2011 and 2012. It's scheduled to stay at Ceres through June of next year. The science phase of Dawn's Ceres mission won't officially get underway for a few more weeks, but since the end of January, the spacecraft has been sending back early approach signals of the icy world that have defied scientists' expectations and whetted their appetites for the more detailed images that should be coming soon. The early pictures reveal that the surface of Ceres is not smooth, as was originally anticipated, but rather dotted with craters. The images also show 2 mysterious and intriguing bright spots nestled close together inside of a 57-mile-wide crater. Scientists don't know what this is, but they are anxious to learn. Ceres has an average diameter of 539 miles and was likely on its way to becoming a full-fledged planet until the gravity of Jupiter got in the way. And they say that Ceres has a rocky core, an ice mantle, and a thin, dusty crust, but they believe that in the past it had a liquid ocean like Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, or one of Saturn's moons in Enceladus, which is what I hear only married people are supposed to do. As Dawn flies closer to Ceres over the next coming months, instruments on the spacecraft will get a better look at the topography of the world, find out if it still has an active geology, and learn what it is truly made of, and get a better understanding of its internal structure. The NASA scientists say that Ceres and Vesta are fossils from the early solar system and could help scientists understand how the Earth formed and where its water might have come from. What do you think about that? And do you feel guilty when you're driving down the highway and the other side is stopped? Do you want to stop your car and tell them, hey, there's a stalled truck up there, that's why you guys are waiting? But then if you stop, then you would cause an accident and then that side would be stopped. I guess that's the miracle of Google Maps. It tells you these things, what's going on. Although it's not always completely accurate. And what do you think about all the Wild movies? What was your favorite movie that had the word Weidel? Weidel? The word wild in its title. That's what I was trying to say. Or your favorite Laura Dern movie. I had the opportunity to say hi to Laura Dern because she was sitting right behind me at a Dixie Chicks concert like 8 years ago. And I did not turn around to say hi to her. But she was beautiful in person, I can tell you. I can attest. And do you think Reese Witherspoon was robbed? And do you still use a Zune? Can you use a Zune? Are Zunes still usable? It's a question that only you can answer. And you can do that by emailing me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. And check out the website, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com, which has links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Rate this show and comment on this show in iTunes, and more people find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity, like many an independent podcaster does, even though they're doing this from the heart and not the soul patch, like Mark Maron was talking about. You can also hear the show on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Player FM. And tell your friends about the show on Facebook. Like the Facebook page, and when I post a new show, share it with your friends and more people will find out about us. You can also follow us on Twitter and also find us on Tumblr, Yelp, and Instagram. All those links at MIKEs-DAILY-Podcast.com, as well as the link to the Amazon, no, not the rainforest, but that website that you buy stuff on. And if you're going to buy anything, go through that at MIKEs-DAILY-Podcast.com, and we get some support from that. There's also the blog, The Daily Podcast Picture, and all my past interviews there at MIKEs-DAILY-Podcast.com. Speaking of interviews,
Into an interview.
I'm speaking with Mullerette, with Lupe and Joey Muller. Lupe is from Argentina originally. What was it like growing up there?
It was great. You know, I grew up in the city in Buenos Aires. We lived downtown, and it's great. You know, it's like, I think, 11 million people, you know, in the city. So it was very, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. I think now living in Berkeley, I look back and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people. I don't know if I can go back to that, but it was definitely fun. It's a fun city. You know, there's lots to do. And I grew up there in the 90s where things were a little bit different than they are right now. And, you know, I was able to, from a pretty young age, to just be out and about, you know, and there's a lot of great things to do, great music. There's, you know, it's the kind of place where if musicians play, they don't have to like recruit people. There's places open and music playing and
foot traffic,
and you kind of go in and out. And very much like New York, you know, it was great. It was great growing up there and having that, you know, space. And there's a lot of art, you know, coming out of the city, and there's a lot of underground too stuff, you know, underground parties, and it was great. I originally actually was a dancer, so that was my first love, you know, with music. It was more in the dance world, so I did get to hang out a lot with dancers and their crews. So, yeah.
What kind of dancing?
Classical. Ballet dancer, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's been in there, too.
That's very cool. And unfortunately, you can't dance when you can't while you're playing because you've got the guitar and the microphone and you're singing.
Yeah.
Unless you
I try to, you know, I realize I'm always moving, and I'm like, does it look? Because I remember, you know, there's times where you go see people and you just want to like stop moving. But yeah, I think it was a fun time, you know, and I don't really miss it. I don't know if I connect so much with classical music at this point in my life, but it was fun, and it was good to have, you know, it was good rhythm training. So
yeah, and the food in Buenos Aires was good.
Well, of course, you know, steak and salad every day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's how, I mean, it's like most people what they eat, you know, it's just meat. It's funny because every now and then I get the question, you know, are you a vegetarian? I'm like, no, I'm from Buenos Aires. And at times I was here and I was playing with the idea of maybe being a vegetarian, and I would go home and everybody would be looking at me like, and what would you eat? Salad? I think it's more common now, but it's a meat eating culture.
Do they eat really, really late?
We do. We have dinner like, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 9 or 10. Yeah, that's the dinner time.
Wow.
Yeah, it is late. I mean, people go to bed later. There's, you know, clubs are open all night. It's a little bit different, you know. Here, what is it, 2 o'clock in the morning, and everything is just closed.
Right, but they go all night.
They go all night, yeah. When we got married there, and our party went from 7 o'clock in the evening to 7 in the morning. We served dinner and breakfast.
Wow. How on earth? Joey, how did you do that?
We all did it.
Yeah. You know, what's amazing is that a lot of the Americans hung, you know, with us until the very end. You know, my dad had to take a little cat nap at one point, but he was there in the morning, and, you know, some of my nephews. And so, you know, here's how you do it. At around 3 o'clock in the morning, they bust out all of these crazy costumes, like masks and feathers and hats and weird, you know, accessories, and then everyone transforms, you know, and the party just goes to a whole new place, and it's like a carnival, you know, and it's I think it's probably got roots in Carnival, like a Brazilian type thing. So, that fuels everybody for the next phase. And, right around 6 o'clock in the morning, that's when the sliders, the steak sandwiches come out, right?
That's breakfast, yeah.
That's breakfast. More steak.
I am holding my head going, how can that happen? Oh my God. That is
But it's perfect, right? You had steak, then you drink quite a bit, dancing all night. And then, exactly what you need for breakfast is steak sandwiches and beer.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wow. I don't know if you ever watch How I Met Your Mother, but in the first season, there's this line about how nothing good happens at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's when the lead guy, no, I can't think of any of the characters, but he makes a big mistake. He professes his love to the girl that he's friends with, and he realizes that's a mistake or something. Anyway, but in Argentina, 2 o'clock in the morning means keep going, go, more fun.
Yeah.
Totally.
Put on costumes.
Yeah.
And sweets. I think at that point too, they would do we had 12 cakes or something, crazy, lots of sugar. They have it all set up to keep you going. Nobody had trouble.
There's a playbook for this sort of thing.
Does anyone then sleep the next day? Are you falling asleep at 7 in the morning, or is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
All day.
Yeah, you usually sleep from 7 to, I think we slept till noon or something. I mean, it was the day after a wedding too. You feel like a train has run over you. So we definitely slept maybe until 6 o'clock.
Then we organized a soccer game for that the next night. I don't know how we did that.
No, we didn't. I didn't play soccer. Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
Then there was soccer. Awesome.
I know, crazy.
What an awesome wedding. That sounds like it was fun. And then
it was a lot of fun. And you know who played in our wedding? Remember Alex Carway? Did you get a chance to see him at Awaken Cafe?
Was he the one that played
right after us? Yeah.
He played?
Yeah, he's awesome. He played in our wedding. Yeah, so Joey had just produced one of his records, and he's a friend, and he played in a wedding, and he's just such a rocker, and I made him sing a totally pop song. I was very caught in the bridal world. He was very sweet, and it was amazing.
He's got great lyrics. I have to try and get him on the show.
Yes, he's amazing, very talented songwriter and singer.
And Joey, you grew up in Orlando. Was there partying all night till 7 in the morning?
No.
With me?
Right. No, I have been to Disney World many, many times, though.
Really?
I mean, seriously, I think at least 50 times. And it's not like it would be an all-day affair. You just go out there for a few hours and come back. But, I actually grew up in a little suburb called Winter Park, which is very kind of idyllic and beautiful in that there are all these lakes, and the houses are sort of scattered around and between these lakes. So a lot of outdoor activity and water sports, pools, and a lot of swimming and boating. That's kind of what we did. So we didn't really do that around the clock. But music there, for me, my big influences, growing up were synth bands, and alternative music was really big in Orlando, and I think it still is. Alt rock, synth rock, that kind of stuff. Kid rock.
Rock.
Now that's your neck of the woods, Alabama.
Alabama, yeah. Sweet home.
Doesn't he live in Orlando? Do you know how we not see him? I feel like
I don't think Kid Rock. No, he's an Alabama guy. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I know for sure when I lived in Alabama, we played a lot of Kid Rock at the country station I worked at. Well, we played that one song all the time, that all summer long. But Orlando. So by synth rock, do you mean more like Nine Inch Nails or Erasure or Depeche Mode?
Yeah, Nine Inch Nails. Jesus and Mary Chain. Yeah, sort of that industrial type stuff, which I got into A little bit, and then the synth pop kind of took over, in Depeche Mode, Erasure. I had a MIDI setup when I was, I think, 15, and that was a gift. That was like my big Christmas gift was a hand-me-down computer. And then I received a card from my mom saying, this is good for one free MIDI. And I don't think she really had any idea what a MIDI was, or if, you could even call it that. But so I kind of just put together a little system. I already had a keyboard with MIDI connections. So before long, I was recreating all of these songs of my time that, like Depeche Mode and a lot of British rock, I guess, British bands,
Howard Jones,
totally.
Pet Shop Boys.
Pet Shop Boys, yeah, you got me.
What is love anyway? Awesome! Wow, that's cool. Now, do they even use MIDI now?
Oh my gosh, yeah, MIDI is just it's invisible. It's connecting everything.
We live in a MIDI world.
We really do, and it's this standard that has not changed, and it didn't really need to. I mean, MIDI information is transmitted through these cables, and you've got between 0 and 127 options for any given type of whatever, so I mean, it goes from 0 to 127. Those are all the little steps in between, which is really not that fine tuned in today's world. Like if you really wanted to create a sound or control a sound, you would probably want much more granularity than what MIDI offers. But MIDI is still the way it's done. It's pretty amazing. And Dave Smith, who co-created MIDI and was awarded a technical Grammy, or I think it was maybe a lifetime achievement Grammy. I'm not exactly sure. I should look that up. But it was a big party at his place over in North Beach in San Francisco, where he has set up shop for all of his instruments. His Dave Smith instruments are really really popular these days. So it was fun to pay homage to Dave and sort of explain to him how much of an impact MIDI has had on my life. I mean, I've taken MIDI with me everywhere, every studio, every band, basically. My first college band, we didn't have a drummer. Instead, we had my computer, who we nicknamed Ringo, and I would hit the space bar on the song, and it would start playing, and we would go for a little ride and hope that we stayed in time with the computer. Of course, we never did, so that was fun.
Is your child named MIDI?
No, he's not named MIDI, no.
He's Toby.
Toby.
Yeah. Which is the second version of MIDI, is Toby.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point.
That's a good idea, though. I bet somebody has named their child MIDI.
Wow, what a background. Interesting, Joey. You really did immerse yourself in the synthesizer world.
Oh, yeah. I did. And the software world kind of has taken over. You've got all the same things you can do with plugins. And it's crazy how much time you can spend on these things, just playing with sounds.
The Wurlitzer you have doesn't have a MIDI.
Does not have MIDI, and I kind of like that limitation.
But you still do some amazing things with it, with your distortion pedals and stuff.
Yeah. And that little keyboard that I have resting on top, that's got MIDI.
Ah, okay. Wow.
It plays bass with one hand, right? That little keyboard that we have, that's for the bass. And then with his other hand, he plays everything else.
Right.
Oh my gosh, is that how the Doors did it?
Yeah, it is.
They had a MIDI. No, they didn't have it.
They had a Whirly, probably.
They had I think it was a Fender Rhodes bass.
That's right. We looked at that little keyboard.
Manzara.
Yeah.
Ray Manzara, was that it?
Yeah.
Keyboards. Yeah. Oh wow. Well, I could talk keyboards for days with Joey, and I think Mullerette is a fantastic band, and you should go see them. And go to mullerette.com to see when they're going to play next? Do you guys have anything lined up?
We're talking about a couple of shows. Right now we're thinking of recording. I think it's, that album came out in 2013, and by the time an album comes up, you've been working on it for like a year. So we're feeling like we want to record again and just kind of do it sort of very similar to a lifestyle, and so, but we have a couple of things, nothing confirmed yet, but East Bay gigs, and hopefully this summer we will get to spend some time recording and testing new sounds.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I wanted to play We Don't Say. And who's doing the backup vocals on this?
So we did the background vocals, Joy and I, and then we also work with Sophia May-Lin. I met her at a songwriting group, and she's amazing. And I've played with her at Awaken Cafe too, and she has a background in a cappella, and she would come and just in 5 minutes have all these different ideas. She's got this beautiful voice, and she worked with us throughout the record, which was nice. The way we did the records, we went to the studio one day, and we recorded all the basic stuff, and then we worked at home with it. I recorded the vocals at home and the guitars, and we would just have our friends come and sort of collaborate, and it was really fun that way. So she did the background vocals there, and it's a bit of that song. I think has changed the most since I wrote it, and the end result and how we play it now, which is a little bit different too. It's always changing a little bit. Is fun that way. It's got a good groove, but we always change.
Wow, so it's a constantly changing piece of work.
I think so. I mean, it's a good grooving and jamming song. I think when we rehearse, a lot of times we just really jam to it, so that's nice about it. But yeah, it's sort of an interesting song that way. That I think Mermaid probably we play it pretty similar to the original version, but that song, since I wrote it and I hear the first few demos and to now, or to how it was recorded on the record, is very different. But yeah, it was fun, and I think we worked with Trevor too, didn't we? Yeah, I think so. Playing some of the guitars and making some of those. Did we play with Trevor during the slides, or you did those slides?
I did the slides.
Yeah, no, Joey did the slides.
Joey's sliding on this.
Yeah.
Joey's sliding.
Awesome. Well, let's hear Mullerette's We Don't Say from their album Out of Your Spell, and you can find it at mullerette.com. That's 2 L's, 1 R, 2 T's. And then there's 3 E's, there's a M and a U, and well, you know how to spell it. And I've been speaking with the wonderful Lupe and Joey Muller, and thank you so much for being on Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yay, I'm glad we did it.
Raised his brows and proceeded to ask, do you want to take on a task? Well, I don't love. She packed a suitcase full of lava boat and threw the ring and the white floor. She thought, well, he won't mind. We don't need to say, oh, we don't wanna feel at all. The price is high, and yeah, we pay for what we don't say. Well, he walks, but there's nowhere to go. He pushed a little too far, too long. He thought, well, I'll survive. On the last day of life, she took a look at an empty glass and thought, well, that's a wrap. We don't need to say it all. We don't wanna feel clouds that run honey away. We don't need to say oh. We don't wanna feel at all. The price is high, and yeah, we pay for what we don't say.
Mullerette, we don't say. Yay! That was fun as we go outside the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The picture is a cartoon of a discussion that I was having with Madame Rutabaga, who saved the day today. Thank you, Michael Marshall. Yes, I brought back John Diaz, the engineer, and Valentino back to this dimension. Thank you for doing that, bringing them back to this dimension. And yeah, we're having this discussion about, well, I asked you to predict the future because you're so mystical and wonderful. That's right, Michael Marshall, I am. And I did, I predicted your future. And you can find out what it is there at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Thank you once again, madam. You're welcome. Now you have to tell us what the actual name of this place is. Yes, you know, we've called this place the last place on earth. It's somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. But what is the name? We're at the patio now. We're outside of the place. Now, all of us know what it is, don't we? Mike Matthews, I've kept this a secret for so long. I want to tell it.
No, Mike, I want to tell it, Dave.
Mike, please let me tell!
I don't care if I tell it or not. I'm really fascinated by how Ceres is an asteroid that might have life underneath the surface.
Okay, yeah, John Deere, the engineer, that is way more important than what the name of this place is. The name of this place is Cafe. Anyway, I don't care. I don't want to tell. Mike Matthews, you said that's what it is. That's the name of the place.
What? It's called Cafe. Anyway, I don't care.
No, John Deere, it's called Cafe Anyway. Because all kinds of crazy things happen here, so it's like Cafe Anyway. Right? That's it. Everybody just walked away. Well, anyway. Doesn't matter. Next show, we're going to bring you the return of the much-loved feature called Do You Know Dat, where we learn interesting news and facts and such things. Plus, we will hear from the disgruntled fiddle player, the brewmaster, and Benita. So alone. I sure feel like watching a Reese Witherspoon movie right now. I'm listening to your Zune! Yeah, Floyd, that would be fun.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!